Hi, I'm Dr. Ozzy. I'm a scientist, I'm a wife, I'm a mom of three. I'm a podcaster and your personal guide through the US green card maze. When I landed in the US back in 2010, I was a broke grad student with a dream and a suitcase. I went on to earn my PhD in microbiology and molecular genetics, and I conducted groundbreaking research in infectious diseases. I secured numerous grant funding, and all of this was through relentless effort and strategy. Now, in 2019, I earned my green card through the EB-2 route, which is the employment-based, second preference, national interest waiver route. There are no lawyers, no employer sponsorships, and in 2025, I proudly became a US citizen. Now, I help others do the same. At my EB-2 my team and I support professionals from all fields like scientists, creatives, tech experts, healthcare heroes, and more. We help them craft winning petitions that are rooted in substance and not just paperwork. So, if you're ready to pursue the US permanent residency route with clarity, with confidence, you're in the right place. Let's begin. So, what if I told you that there's a US green card that you can get without a job offer, without employer sponsorship, and even without being in the US, just by proving that you're really good at what you do? Yes, that exists. It's called the EB-1A. And it might just be the most powerful and overlooked immigration option out there. If you're an expert in your field, this episode could change everything. So let's break it down. EB1 stands for Employment Based First Preference, Extraordinary Ability. This type of green card is for individuals who have extraordinary ability. And it's a green card path for people who are at the top of their fields, whether it's in science, the arts, education, business, or even athletics. The US immigration law specifically states that this category is for individuals with exceptional ability or extraordinary ability proven by sustained national or international acclaim. We're going to break all of that down in the subsequent videos, right? But the game changer is that you don't need a job offer. You don't even need employer sponsorship. You can self-petition, guys. So that means that you're in control. And if your work benefits the US, you could qualify. So, who actually gets approved on the EB-1A? Let's talk about that. I'm going to give you three real life examples. All right. The first one is, say you're a microbiologist like I am, right? And you have peer-reviewed publications. It could be 15, it could be 30, right? And of course, you have hundreds of citations. If you've presented at international conferences, if you've won any competitive grants, or if your research is changing how we treat diseases, then that's EB-1A material, right? So that's a very good example for individuals who are in the STEM field or who are doing some kind of research or the other, right? And then the second example is, let's say you're a startup founder in AI, another example in tech, right? And you've built a platform with tens of thousands of users. Maybe you've raised venture capital and your patents are cited by competitors. That in itself is sustained impact, and that counts. Then my third example is for individuals who are in the sports field, right? So maybe you're an Olympic level gymnast, for example, or a national team coach, and your athletes have won medals like gold, silver, or bronze, right? That level of acclaim also qualifies as sustained um, acclaim, right? It's not about fame, guys. It's about recognition. It's about impact and it's about consistency. So when you're thinking about whether you qualify for these, I would say these are the three things you need to think about. Has my work received recognition? Is it impactful? And am I consistent in my field? Right? So let's be clear and let's clear up this confusion. What's the difference between EB-1A, EB-2 and the O1 visa? These are the three categories of visas and green cards that we help individuals. So EB-1A is a green card for people with extraordinary ability, right? EB-2 is for people who are doing work that is in the national interest of the US. And even if they're not at the top of their fields, they could still qualify, right, for green cards. O1 visa, on the other hand, is a temporary visa, but it's not permanent, right? The criteria for O1 kind of mimic EB-1A, but it's not, it's a visa, it's not permanent. EB-1A is the only one that lets you self-petition, skip the job offer, get a green card outright, right away, right? You skip to the front of the line. EB-2 helps you with that, but because of the backlog right now, a lot of individuals are preferred to apply through EB-1A to be able to speed up the process. So how do you actually prove that you're extraordinary? This is the big question, right? The $1 million question. And a lot of people ask that question. Well, USCIS uses a two-part test, right? A two-part test. The step one is to check if you can meet 3 out of 10 of the specific criteria that shows that you have sustained international acclaim. Did I show you have a one-time big award, or from the you meet 3 out of 10 from specific criteria that they put forward, like awards, media coverage, judging the work of others, maybe scholarly articles, and things like that, right? And we'll cover each of these in future episodes. Step 2 is called the final merits determination. Now, this is where USCIS will zoom out and they'll pretty much ask the question, are you truly at the top of your field? Are you top tier in your field? Have you made accomplishments that have a lasting impact in your field? That is the final final merit determination. And meeting all 3 criteria gets your foot in the door. However, to get approved, you need to show that the story behind those achievements is much, much deeper, right? Let's bust some of these misconceptions right now. The first misconception is that you need a Nobel Prize to qualify for this. That's false. You just have to meet 3 strong criteria of sustained acclaim. No prize, no Nobel Prize required, right? The second misconception is that you have to be famous, right? Now, of course, you need to be recognized for your work by experts in your field, but fame is quite optional. You don't have to be famous to apply for this type of green card. Now, the third misconception is that it's only for scientists. And I get that a lot because, of course, I'm preaching the message of EB-1A and I'm a scientist, right? So people tend to think that, oh, it's only for people in STEM, it's only for scientists and things like that. Well, the reality is that USCIS allows applicants in every field, from business to tech, and even to ballet, right? To sports. So I want you to ask, I want to ask you 3 quick questions, and that would really help you decide or start to think about if you're actually qualified for EB-1A, if you're EB-1A material, or if you can do a little bit more to boost your chances of getting approved through the EB-1A route. The first thing is, have you been recognized nationally or internationally in your field? Think about that. Have you made original contributions through things like publications, inventions, or even leadership, right? If you have, that's a good pointer. Now, the third one is, are you still actively working and building your impact? If the answer to any one of these 3 questions is yes, then you could be well on your way, to getting a US green card through the EB-1A route. The rest of this series is going to show you exactly how you need to build the strongest case possible. I'm going to take my time to break down every simple component of the requirements for this specific type of US green card. And hopefully at the end of the series, you go away a little bit more confident about your chances of approval, or even a little bit more confident about the things that you need to do next, right? So this is just the beginning. In the very next episode, I'm going to walk you through the 3 core eligibility requirements that every EB-1 applicant has to meet before touching the criteria, okay? We're going to talk about that. What are the 3 eligibility requirements, the core eligibility requirements that you have to meet, right? So I want you to make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss it, because we're going to be giving useful information here that's going to be really helpful to you, okay? And if you're not sure whether your work qualifies, drop a comment below. I'll read all the comments. I'll do well to answer your questions. I really want to make sure that this year you have all it takes to succeed, all right? So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the very next episode. Bye-bye.